Assalamualaikum. My name is Digestive, and I'll be the first one to present our flipbook project from Group 3, where we'll be discussing about the digestive system. So my group members are Abir Samir, Hiba Ala Ilwalid, me myself Ayu, and Iyad Muhammad. We will see about the structure of digestive system. We can classify it into two parts, where the pink color is the GI tract. As we emphasized, the food will move from the mouth all the way to the large intestine. And the purple color is the accessory organs which help to assist the digestion process. Let's see one by one. The first part of the GI tract is the mouth, which is an area where mechanical ingestion of food occurs, and the salivary glands will excrete saliva to moisten up the food. Next, we have the esophagus, where it is a tract consisting of double layers of muscles, which helps to assist the movement of bolus from the mouth all the way to the stomach. Then we have the stomach itself, where it is an organ that holds up to a gallon of gastric juice and helps to assist the digestion of food using the chemical reactions. Next, we have the small intestine, which is a tract where most of the absorption of nutrients from the food occurs. And lastly, we have the large intestine, which is the last part of the GI tract and making the chyme into a waste until excretion occurs. Next, talking about the accessory organs, the first part of the accessory organ is the teeth itself, which is the bone in the mouth that helps to assist chewing food into smaller pieces. Then we have the tongue, which is the muscle that assists the movement of chewed food, making it into a bolus and swallowing it all the way into the esophagus. And don't forget the salivary glands, which excrete the saliva to moisten up the food and also secretes amylase enzyme to digest carbs into polysaccharides. Yes. Next, we have the liver, which is an organ that secretes bile, and it will transfer all the way to the gallbladder, a small organ that stores up the bile. And lastly, we'll go through the pancreas, which is the organ that makes enzymes that breaks down all the food, as well as to secrete the bile, which help to assist the emulsification process. Okay. So moving to the next page, we will discuss on how the food flow and process in the GI tract. The first step, we can see that the person is eating the pizza, and it will move into the mouth where it is chewed by the teeth, as well as the salivary glands will secrete saliva to moisten up the food. The tongue is the muscle in the mouth that will assist the shape of food, making it into a bolus shape, so making it easy to squeeze along the digestive tract. During that, the salivary glands also secrete amylase enzyme, where the carbs from the pizza will break down into polysaccharides. The second step, we can see that the tongue will assist the movement of bolus by pushing it and swallowing it into the esophagus, which consists of contracting and relaxing muscles, moving the bolus all the way to the stomach. The third step is bolus will move into the stomach via the esophageal sphincter, where we can see that the stomach is covered by a layer of mucus secreted by the gastric glands to avoid corrosion of the organ during the release of gastric juice. Gastric juice consists of certain enzymes such as the pepsin enzyme to break down protein into polypeptides, the intrinsic factor, which will combine with the vitamin B12 during the absorption in the small intestine, and also the hydrochloric acid, the base of the gastric juice, which will kill the bacteria within the food. Continue to step 4. You can see that as the bolus mixes with the gastric juice, it will turn into chyme, and as it exits the stomach and enters the first part of the small intestine, which is the duodenum, via the pyloric sphincter, it will convert into chyle. Chyle will mix with certain chemicals, which is to be specified. Liver excrete bile, which functions to emulsify fat into tiny droplets. It will then go through the gallbladder, which is the storage for bile, and all the way to the pancreas, which will excrete the bile into the chyle to break down lipids into fatty acids. Pancreas also secretes pancreatic juice that consists of hydrogen bicarbonate that neutralize chyle from acidic form into alkaline, trypsin that breaks down polypeptides into peptides, more amylase to convert polysaccharides into monosaccharides, and lipase that free up fatty acids from the triglycerides. So basically, in the small intestine, most of the major compounds will be digested into its simplest form, where we can see that carbohydrates will convert into monosaccharides, proteins into peptides, which is similar to amino acids, and lipids will turn into free fatty acids and glycerides. So going through the small intestine, it consists of lots of folds that we call as villi that consists of blood capillaries where most nutrients from the digestion process is absorbed into the body system, such as the major compounds that we talked about before, calcium, which helps to strengthen our bones, trace elements such as zinc to assist the immunity system, and vitamins such as the vitamin B12, which will combine with the intrinsic factor for the maturation of the red blood cells. Villi also consists of lactyle, where the triglycerides will combine with chylomicrons and transported into the lacteals and moving through the lymphatic system. Lastly, step 6, as chyle is fully absorbed all the nutrients, it will transfer from the small intestine all the way through the large intestine via the Bowhin's valve, where large intestine consists of trillions of bacteria that helps to decompose fibers as well as to kill bacteria in the chyle. Along the track, water, vitamins, and minerals will be absorbed from the chyle, leaving it as a waste and moving it all the way to the rectum until excretion throughout the body will occur. And that's the end of the digestive system.
I am Abir. Today I will discuss about disease related to digestive system. First disease is gallstones. Gallstones are hardened disposed of digestive fluid that can form in your gallbladder. Gallbladder is a small pear-shaped organ on the right side of your abdomen, just beneath your liver. The gallbladder holds a digestive fluid called bile that's released into your small intestines. Now, let's talk about symptoms. First, sudden and repeatedly intensifying pain in the upper right portion of your abdomen. Second, pain in the center of your abdomen, right below your breastbone. That comes on suddenly and gets worse quickly. Third, back pain between your shoulder blades. Fourth, nausea or vomiting. And about causes, number 1, the cholesterol in your bile is too high. Number 2, your bile contains too much bilirubin. Number 3, your gallbladder is not emptying correctly. And about how are gallstone diagnosed? First, by abdominal ultrasound. This test is one of the commonly used to look for signs of gallstones. Abdominal ultrasound involves moving a device transducer back and forth across stomach area. Second, endoscopic ultrasound. This technique can assist detect tiny stones that an abdominal ultrasonography may miss. During an EUS, a thin flexible tube endoscope is passed into the mouth and into the digestive tract by the doctor. Third, by blood tests. About the treatment, 1. Laparoscopic cholecystectomy. Small surgical incisions are used in this technique, allowing for a quicker recovery. Within 1 day of surgery, most patients are able to return home. In the past, open cholecystectomy was only the option. That's mean gallbladder removal. Second, medication to digestive gallstones. Third, lithotripsy. Lithotripsy for those who are unable to undergo surgery. Shockwave lithotripsy of the gallbladder has used. About it is lactose intolerance. Lactose intolerance occurs when the body is unable to digest or break down the lactose. The definition of lactose is a sugar that can be found in the milk and other dairy products. Lactose intolerance is most common in the Asian American, African American, Mexican American, and Native Americans. Now let's talk about symptoms. Lactose intolerance symptoms commonly appear 30 minutes to 2 hours after eating or drinking lactose-containing foods. The symptoms: 1. Stomach cramps. cramps. Number 2, nausea. Number 3, bloating. Number 4, gas. Number 5, diarrhea. About cases. First, lactose intolerance is often passed down through generation. Second, the small intestines stop making lactase after an injury or after disease or infections. Third, some of newborns who are born prematurely may not able to produce enough lactase. This is often short-term problem that goes away. Fourth, people who are born without the ability to produce any lactase are extremely rare. And how about lactose intolerance? Diagnosed. First, lactose tolerance test. This test determines how lactose is absorbed by your body. Second, hydrogen breath test. After a person drinks a liquid containing a lot of lactose, breath will be checked several times. If the person has a high level of hydrogen, that means the person is lactose intolerant. And now we will talk about treatment. Actually, for lactose intolerance, doesn't have any medications for this disease, but we have something to do for lactose intolerance. First, eat dairy products that have a lower lactose content by nature. Second, seek lactose-free and lactose-reduced milk and dairy products, like eat some lactose-free, like almond milk, soya yogurt, cashew, coconut yogurt. Coconut yogurt. Third, in incorporate small amount of dairy product into your daily meals.
Assalamu alaikum. I'm Hiba, and I will continue with the digestive system function. So we have in the first function, ingestion. The food enters the digestive system through the mouth. Once in the mouth, the food is chewed from a bowl of food called the bowls. So this process down after chewed in mouth, with help of the saliva, teeth, and tongue, it will pass through the esophagus and your pharynx and your pharynx into your stomach. Next, we have the digestion. So as you can see here, we have two types of digestion. We have the mechanical digestion and the chemical digestion. In the mechanical digestion, the muscular movements of digestion tract, mainly in the oral cavity and stomach, physically break down food into smaller particles. In the chemical digestion, of course, we need something to digest with the chemical reacts like enzymes. Um, mainly in the stomach, the enzymes mainly in the stomach and small intestine, which it have a chemically breakdown into small particles, nutrients, molecules small enough to be absorbed. Next, we have the pharynx and esophagus. So the first is swallow food. The swallow food after you chewed the food and break it down into small particles. It will swallow. It will pass through the pharynx, and after it's passed through your pharynx, it will continue to esophagus. So the esophagus will carry down this swallow food into your stomach. Next, we have the secretion. So basically, secretion contained with enzymes, digestive fluid secreted by the digestive tract and its stomach. So the stomach is a muscular sac that is located in the left side of the abdominal cavity. It contains hyaluronic acid and digestive enzymes that continue the digestion of food that begun in the mouth. Um, Mixing and movement. So the digestive system uses three main processes to move and mix food. First, we have the swallowing. So the swallowing, as I said, is a process that use smooth and skillful muscles in the mouth. The peristalsis is a muscular wave that travels the length of the GI tract, moving partially. Last one, we have segmentation. It occurs only in the small intestine as short segments of intestine contracts, like so. For example, like hand squeezing a toothpaste tube. For the absorption, passage of the end products nutrients of chemical digestion from the digestive tract into blood and lymph for distribution to tissue cells. Small intestine.
is a long tube with a small diameter extending from the pyloric sphincter to the ileocecal valve, okay? And it's divided to a duodenum, and ileum. So here's some function. It makes time with digestive juices and bring food into contact with milk cell for absorption. It also completes the digestion of the carbohydrates, proteins, and lipids. It's also absorbed 90% of nutrients, for example, amino acids, lipids, electrolytes, and vitamins, also water. Next, we have the pancreas, liver, and gallbladder. So for the pancreas secretes pancreatic juice, a mix of digestive enzymes and water buffers, um, and electrolytes produced by acinar and uh, epithelial cells. And then we have liver. So here's some function of liver. It can storage um, glycogen, iron, and vitamins A, D, B, protein metabolism, synthesize the bile salts, excretion, bilirubin. For the gallbladder is a green, pear-shaped sac about 10 centimeters. Um, it stores and contracts excess bile secreted by the liver. So it stores the excess bile stores from the liver. That was gallbladder. So the last thing we have excretion. So for excretion is a process remove the feces, which removal of waste products from body like ingestible substance, bacteria cells like from the lining of GI tract when absorb digestive material. So the extraction is the removal of the waste of the body fluids. So like that, as we say, the indigestible substance and etc. So um, last thing we have the large intestine. So the last segment of the GI tract extending from the ileocecal valve to the arms. The large intestine only absorb water, electrolytes, and some vitamins. It's just absorb water and some vitamins, and lastly, it will end in the arms.
Now we will talk about instruments to diagnose. In order to reach a diagnosis for digestive disorders, a thorough and accurate medical history will be taken by your healthcare provider, noting the symptoms you have experienced and any other pertinent information. A physical exam is also done to help assess the problem more completely. Some patients need to undergo a more extensive diagnostic evaluation. This may include lab tests, imaging tests, and/or endoscopic procedures These tests may include any or a combination of the following: lab tests, imaging tests, and endoscopic procedures. First, a lab tests. Fecal occult blood test. A fecal occult blood test checks for hidden occult blood in the stool. Stool culture. A stool culture. Number 1, fecal occult. Number 2, a stool culture. A stool culture checks for the presence of abnormal bacteria in the digestive tract that may cause diarrhea and other problems. A small sample of stool is collected and sent to a lab by your healthcare provider office. In 2 or 3 days, the test will show whether abnormal bacteria are present. Endoscopic procedures. We have colonoscopy. Colonoscopy is a procedure that allows the healthcare provider to view the entire length of the large intestine. Then we have another one called ERCP. ERCP is a procedure that allows the healthcare provider to diagnose and treat problems in the liver, gallbladder, bile ducts, and pancreas. Then we have EGD or upper endoscopy. An EGD is a procedure that allows the healthcare provider to examine the inside of esophagus, stomach, and duodenum with an endoscope. Third, we have imaging tests like barium breakfast meal and deficography, and we have colorectal transit study, and we have computed tomography scan, CT or CAT scan, yes, and then we have magnetic resonance, and we have magnetic resonance. Number one, we have magnetic resonance imaging, MRI, and then we have MRCP. Due to the complex anatomy of gastrointestinal system, specialized equipment and training are needed for assessment, diagnosis, and treatment of gastrointestinal diseases. There are special gastroenterology equipment used in medicine and surgery. They are all necessary for complete and effective management of gastroenterologic office or clinic, such as we have microscope, duodenoscope, gastroscope, and colonoscope, and we have enteroscope, and we have sigmoidoscope, we have balloon dilato, and we have ultrasound endoscope, and endoscope snare, and band ligator, and heater prop.